It's troubling to see what's going on at Scunthorpe United now. Following relegation from the Vanarama National League last season, things have been going from bad to worse for a team that was back in 2007 winning a League One playoff final to secure promotion to the Championship. So, what's the story at Scunthorpe? Well, let's start our story with Peter Swan, their former chairman, and he resigned prior to the club's relegation from the Football League. This happened in the 2021-2022 season. Swan, whose fortune seems to come from his wife, according to many articles on the internet, who is a member of the family behind the discount retail store Wilko's, who just so happened to go out of business very recently. Swan had allegedly racked up a considerable gambling debt, leading him to sue a company called Apollo Bookmakers Limited, though I should point out, in a statement released by the club back in 2022, Swan said that the event leading up to this dispute happened 5 years beforehand and were, quote, categorically unconnected with the finance of Scunthorpe United Football Club and /or the companies which are involved in the funding of the football club. A report from This Is Money suggested that he had bet between 2014 and 2018 within the region of £20 million. Why is this important? Well, Swan may not own the club anymore, but he does own their stadium, Glanford Park, which he purchased through his company Cool Silk, which meant that the club's £11 million worth of loans owed to Swan was effectively wiped out. Swan tried to sell the club in September of 2022 following relegation, but that takeover collapsed, leaving the club at the bottom of the National League with a very real danger of entering administration, but a saviour, please note the sarcasm there, in the form of former Ilkeston Town Chair David Hilton. Hilton was able to service the club's tax debt, thus avoiding a winding up petition, and that spelled the end of a transfer embargo that had been in place at the club since their relegation from the Football League. However, by the end of the 2022-23 season, the club had suffered back-to-back relegations and were now in the National League North alongside other former Football League clubs like Boston United, Darlington and Southport, plus two Phoenix clubs of ex-Football League sides in Hereford Football Club and Scarborough Athletic. So Hilton took over in January of 2022, but it was in September of 2023 that the club was up for sale once again. After 6 to 7 months of ownership, Hilton was done. The club riddled with debt and losing money every month, and with a fresh winding up petition being issued by HMRC, that's the tax man by the way, it looks like the club is in a bit of a precarious position. This is what Hilton told the BBC back in September. I know that it is hard, but I will pay the petition in full and continue to work through the club's remaining debt. My offer to sell the club will remain in place indefinitely, and we will see what the future holds. In the meantime, myself and my team will continue to work tirelessly to bring you success and eradicate all of the ongoing issues as quickly as we can. Your club will be unaffected on the field, and I will always look for us to be strong at whatever level we play at. An HMRC winding up petition and the club losing money every month. It's not a recipe for grandeur. And that's not the only issue, because in August we found out about a legal battle involving the club's former owner Peter Swan, who was, according to reports, receiving 7 pence in rent from the club per week. Of course, he owns Glanford Park. At the end of September, David Hilton announced he was to withdraw any further funding from Scunthorpe United and announced that the Irons would play their home matches 16 miles away at Gainsborough Trinity. There was, however, one issue with this, because nobody had actually told Gainsborough Trinity that Scunthorpe would be moving to their stadium, which led to some puzzled statements on their social media accounts. A statement from Gainsborough Trinity reads as follows: whilst the club has always been clear that any request from Scunthorpe United to play fixtures at the Cal Group Stadium would be considered, this would always have been done by due process, which would have involved both clubs and the ground owner. Hilton was already extremely unpopular with Iron supporters and had sought to, move the club's training facilities to Ilkeston Town's training ground in a cost-cutting measure. Not to mention an investigation by digital sports news company The Athletic accusing David Hilton of being convicted of 15 counts of fraud by false representation under the name David Anderson. The Football Association has confirmed it is looking into the matter. But as I'm writing this, the script for this video, Scunthorpe United's X account, formerly Twitter, made an interesting post and maybe some hope for Irons fans, because it has been confirmed that local businesswoman Michelle Harness has taken over the club from David Hilton. Here's what the official club statement says. I would like to thank everyone who assisted in the transaction, especially David Hilton. There are a lot of challenges and problems to overcome, but David has taken no fee for the club and wiped all monies that he personally invested to enable this deal to happen. I wish him and his family all the best for the future, and I hope he finds some peace away from football. I'd also like to acknowledge the efforts of Simon Elliott, who has massively assisted in getting this deal over the line. There is now a lot of work to do behind the scenes to get our great football club back on track, and that work starts immediately with the fantastic team we have working for us, starting with the appointment of a new board. Is this the start of a new era for the Irons, or will we be back making another video in 6 months to a year's time? I certainly hope not. I find these videos very depressing to make. One thing I didn't mention in the course of the video that I think is really important to mention as a kind of PS on the end of the video is that Scunthorpe United fans throughout this whole last couple of weeks have been absolutely fantastic. Scunthorpe United fans raised more than £50,000 to help pay staff wages after the club's owners withdrew funding and it left them unpaid. These club supporters include the Iron Brew on Twitter and the Iron Hour podcast. Should I say Twitter? Should I say X? If you haven't, go follow them. They are brilliant to follow, and they have kept me up to date with what has been going on from a fan point of view at the Irons. So it's absolutely fantastic. Well done everybody at Scunthorpe for raising that £50,000. That is the end of the video, and I hope we won't be back here at any point in the future talking about Scunthorpe financial problems.